WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day continues as we track Arctic cold into central and eastern Kentucky. We'll talk about that and a potential bigger storm that's coming up.
The Supreme Court puts President Obama's climate agenda on hold, how Kentuckians on both sides of the issue are reacting.
And how one Lexington hip-hop artist is hoping to make a difference for some furry friends.
WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good evening. Welcome to WKYT News here at 5:30. Winter pretty much here to stay in the bluegrass as snow showers continue to move across Kentucky.
Temperatures are expected to drop to single digits or low teens in many areas, and that is why it is another WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has a first look now at your forecast.
Yeah, not as snowy out there to end the day as how we started out the day. Those snow showers and squalls this morning packing a punch. A quick inch or two additional snows this morning into much of the area. Late afternoon / early evening, thermometers still struggling to get to 20 degrees. Congrats, Frankfurt. You did hit 20. Finally, 19 London, Lexington, Mountain Parkway corridor. Look at the snowy roads the farther east that we go. Right now, it's all about the wind chills, though. Feels like 7 degrees Lexington and Mount Sterling, 4 the cold spot in northern Kentucky, and those wind chills will stay in the single digits as we go through the evening. Defender Radar Network. I know the first thing catching your attention is out across western Kentucky. Get you there in just a second. Let's focus on what is left of the snow showers in the eastern and southeastern Kentucky. That's beginning to wind down. Still, though, enough to put down a coating on some of the roads into parts of the Mountain Parkway corridor south and east from there. Snow swath into western Kentucky is putting down some light snows, but you notice the trajectory on that is heading more toward Nashville than it is into central and eastern Kentucky. The next 24 hours, cold near 8. First thing tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, we're going to break out in the sun. Temperatures all the way up into the balmy mid-20s. I say that tongue in cheek. We'll look ahead to the weekend and a possible winter system when I come back in a few.
Thanks, Chris. We do continue, though, to track a breaking news alert in Lexington. As we first reported here at 5, there has been another major setback to the Centrepointe project in downtown Lexington.
Investor Matt Collins, who just became involved with Centrepointe last summer, says he is pulling out of the project because he learned today City Hall would not be moved there. In a letter sent to Mayor Jim Gray this afternoon, Collins said it was not financeable to move forward if City Hall was not part of that project. We'll have reaction from Mayor Gray ahead for you on WKYT News at 6. This morning's burst of snow didn't last long, but they were enough to cause a few problems on the roads. In Madison County, one driver lost control of her vehicle on the interstate and flipped over an embankment. Her vehicle landed on its top. She was okay. Other drivers say they're trying to take it slow while hoping this winter blast doesn't last long.
Foots are hurting on work bad. That's the kind of work I do. I do construction work. It's put a damper on us.
Road crews remind drivers with temperatures staying below freezing, even though the pavement looks clear, there could still be patches of black ice on the road.
In a surprise 5-4 decision, the U.S. Supreme Court put the brakes on a major part of President Obama's climate change agenda that affects the coal industry. The court stopped the EPA's Clean Power Plant from moving forward, a major regulation requiring every state to reduce carbon dioxide emissions until legal challenges against the rule are resolved. 27 states are fighting the regulation, including Kentucky. WKYT's Hillary Thornton has more on how those on both sides of the issue are reacting to the court's decision.
While those on each side of this debate do not agree on the actual decision of the Supreme Court, they do both say putting President Obama's Clean Power Plan on hold came as a surprise.
We didn't really expect it, but it's great news for our coal industry. We needed this win. This allows us to kind of take a step back, look at our strategies related to the President's Clean Power Plan, and how can we defend Kentucky coal, because this issue, Clean Power Plan, really takes away our market.
It's definitely disappointing. It's unprecedented, but we don't believe it's going to be the last word. In fact, the Supreme Court said it's a temporary stay.
Halting the plan that calls for reduction of carbon dioxide emissions at power plants by about 1/3 by the year 2030, a plan that more than 24 states, including Kentucky, filed lawsuits to stop.
We have a lot more work to do, but it's a great first step. I think it shows that what they've done is unconstitutional. It's unfair to our industry, and the Supreme Court is listening.
A statement those on the other side do not agree with, saying they believe the only impact this temporary freeze will have is simply a delay in the process moving forward.
Don't forget that this very same Supreme Court has 3 times ruled that the EPA must regulate carbon pollution per the Clean Air Act. So I don't think that they're going to win on this battle.
In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
The Kentucky Coal Association says while this will not put people back to work right away, it will help make the market viable in the future.
In Louisville, a U.S. Marshal shot and killed someone today during a traffic stop. It happened just off of Lee's Lane and Cane Run Road. Authorities say marshals were serving a warrant and pulled over a car with a wanted man inside. The man reportedly pulled out a gun when the marshals approached the vehicle. That's when the marshal shot and killed him. The suspect was pronounced dead at the scene.
An individual from that vehicle produced a handgun. The marshal addressed that threat, and as a result, fired upon that individual. That individual received fatal injuries and was pronounced dead here on the scene.
Louisville Metro Police are now investigating the incident along with the U.S. Marshals Service.
A babysitter charged with abuse of 2 infants last November since had more charges added to her case. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Madison County. Police originally charged 34-year-old Bessie Perkins with 2 counts of criminal abuse when 2 babies she was babysitting at her home ended up in the hospital. One of the babies had a leg fracture. The other had retinal hemorrhaging and a brain bleed. Today, a grand jury upgraded those charges to 2 counts of assault and 5 counts of criminal abuse. Perkins will be arraigned tomorrow. And in Letcher County, a bizarre incident led to an arrest last night at a Walmart. State police arrested 51-year-old James Penrod of North Dakota after an off-duty trooper saw him put Legos down his pants and pink dolls into his jacket. Police say he smelled of alcohol and was combative when he was arrested. Penrod faces several charges, including shoplifting, resisting arrest, assault of a police officer, and alcohol intoxication.
When people think of Wildcats, basketball is usually the first thing that comes to mind, but one Lexington hip-hop artist is hoping to bring some attention to another group of felines. Sean Moody has more.
Come on. Hendrick Floyd's got a few mouths to feed.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. That's meow there.
These cats live along North Limestone, and this time of year, that life is rough.
There are 5 and 2 just started showing up, you know.
So Hendrick does what he can to help keep them full and warm.
You know, you see the old guys taking care of the birds. Well, I think I'm heading into that territory.
But he's not stopping here at his front porch. Floyd is also a hip-hop artist, performing under the name Shiesty Christ.
I think for that video alone, we had probably 150 or so shares. For me, hip-hop and community are synonymous.
He hopes a blend of that community and coffee can help feral cats across the city. He spent several years in the coffee business and teamed up with Magic Beans coffee roasters to create a special blend.
Yeah, cold winter blend. Yeah, if you're not a coffee drinker, you can drink this coffee and absolutely enjoy it. If you're a coffee snob, you can drink this coffee and absolutely enjoy it.
Andy says the profits from every bag they sell will go toward making cat shelters like this one to put around town.
But they're really lo-fi and but very productive, and we can make quite a few of them.
They've put together 60 to 70 bags and hope to sell even more.
Just if people can support this cause, they're supporting a fantastic cause, and they're making sure that that cats have a place to stay.
In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
What a great idea. Now, if you would like to help out the effort, you can buy those bags at a Cup of Commonwealth or anywhere that sells Magic Beans coffee.
Consumers and businesses are losing millions of dollars every year due to the increasing number of counterfeit money orders. Here's how one savvy employee kept his store from becoming a statistic.
He was shopping for a bed, and he came back to buy it this time.
Bob Long has been in the furniture business for more than 50 years, but something about this customer made him suspicious. He wanted to pay for a king-size bed with 4 $700 money orders.
And the sale was for $2,700, and there was $100 change that would have to have been given to this person.
The customer also seemed to be in a hurry.
He wanted to get the bed delivered right away within 3 or 4 days. I mean, these people are not stupid. They know it's going to take 5, 6, 7 days for it to come back to me, and it'll be too late by then.
But a savvy salesperson was able to buy some time to look into the money orders.
Look, when we deliver the bed 3 days later, we'll return the $100 change to you. And the guy said, that's okay.
Long and his staff immediately took a picture of the money orders and sent them to a bank.
He calls us right back and he says, these checks are not right. Do not take them.
Long then called postal inspectors who investigated the money orders and verified they were fakes. Their probe led to a quick arrest. Inspectors say there are several red flags, including variations in ink color and paper texture.
You hold up the money order and you're unable to see the watermark along with the strip that is illuminated once you hold it up at the light. If there's some markings by the amount that might look like that it has been erased.
You've got to be careful with who you deal with. You certainly don't ever want to give change back to somebody.
The suspect in this case faces federal charges for the counterfeit money orders and could face up to 5 years in prison.
Still ahead, the federal government wants to get involved in a case involving an Eastern Kentucky disability lawyer.
I'm Bill Bryant. The presidential campaign rolls south after New Hampshire goes for anti-establishment candidates. And timing might be better for Lexington Mayor Jim Gray as controversy erupts over the future location of City Hall. The bottom line is ahead.
For all your hearth and grill needs, shop barnhillchimney.com.
This President's Day, it's all about choices at the Burke Furniture President's Day sale. Get the special order bedroom you want in 21 days with Von Bassett Furniture.
That's incredible!
It's all at the Burke Furniture President's Day sale, going on now.
It's not about the distance you have to go, it's about the drive that gets you there.
It's what makes us Kentucky strong, independent, and proud.
Giving it your best, 100% every day, because that's what it takes.
When it comes to getting things done, nothing outperforms, outworks, or outshines Ford F-Series trucks from Paul Miller.
39 years and still the leader. Ford F-150 from Paul Miller. Big Blue Nation's destination.
United we stand, Kentucky strong. Ford Trucks and Paul Miller.
We had real people make their own pizzas. They chose the ingredients they wanted.
I'd like the fresh dough.
What's PHA? I'm going to go with the one that doesn't have the acronyms.
Get the one without fillers. What are fillers?
You guys just made your pizza the way I make my pizza.
Hey!
No ingredients that you can't pronounce, no artificial flavors. And we're proud to announce our new quality guarantee. Love your pizza or get another one absolutely free.
Get any large pizza with up to 5 toppings for just $9.99. Online only.
At papajohns.com.
Sleep is a critical component of our athletic training at UK.
Our sleep experts are the champions at matching our customers to the best bed for them.
This week at Sleep Outfitters, get a free TV with qualifying purchase, like this Sealy Pillow Top Queen Set with gel foam, now only $4.99, plus a free TV. Go to sleepoutfitters.com for store locations and hours.
Sleep Outfitters, official sleep provider of UK Athletics. Sleep like a champion, play like a champion.
I love Kentucky because it's my home. It's where I was born and raised, and it's me.
The people of Kentucky are proud to be Kentuckians, proud of the heritage, proud of the tradition, and I share that pride.
Whether they're single moms, elderly couples, working families, those are the kind of people that we help.
At the end of the day, helping Kentucky is what it's all about. If someone needs help or one of their loved ones needs help, all they have to do is give us a call.
Win. Lawyers helping people. 859-780-3333.
This President's Day, it's all about choices at the Burke Furniture President's Day sale. Get the special order bedroom you want in 21 days with Von Bassett Furniture.
That's incredible!
It's all at the Burke Furniture President's Day sale, going on now.
WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day continues. Now it's more about the bitterly cold temperatures as compared to the snows. Snows are winding down, blanket of white left behind from the latest rounds of snow out there today. Some of us picking up another fresh inch or two this morning. Winds, temperatures getting together to give you the feels like number. 7 degrees right now into Lexington. That's the number to dress for. Even as actual temperatures are only into the upper teens. Those wind chill numbers are deep into the single digits. Upper teens today as good as we could get for a lot of high temperatures across most of the region. Defender radar network, a lot of this stuff is not getting to the ground. We're looking at eastern Kentucky for what is left of those snow showers and squalls that we had a little earlier in the day. Still going at a pretty good clip down the Mountain Parkway around Hazard, parts of the Big Sandy Valley, that US 23 corridor. Bluegrass region now with a break in the action. Western Kentucky. This band of snow here is the real deal. Leading edge of that not getting to the ground. That is a shrinking band of snow that is now taking up residents from Paducah toward Nashville. And again, the flow on that continues to take it away from central and eastern Kentucky. Snow showers tapering off tonight. Arctic front then we focus on for the day on Friday. That may have a little burst of some snow late in the day, and it introduces a bitterly cold weekend across the region. Watching also Sunday night into Monday and Tuesday for maybe a stronger storm system that will gather some steam. Here's a better breakdown of what to expect over the next couple of days. For tonight, we know the snow showers taper off, but it's the temperatures that will steal the show. Some of us will drop into the high single digits. If you have stars over top of you tonight, meaning the sky's clear, you have some snow on the ground, you'll hit the single digits. The rest of us, if we have a little cloud cover, we're going to hang into the low teens. Either way you slice it, it's cold. Throw some winds in there, it'll feel colder than that. Sun tomorrow makes a visit for a change. Temperatures, though, will stay frigid. Then we go into Friday. Day starts out okay. Winds will gust up. Temperatures may make a run toward freezing in a few spots. Then come crashing down with an Arctic front that will have a period of some light snow with it that introduces bitter cold temperatures again heading into our weekend. That hour-by-hour forecast to walk you toward that big Valentine's weekend. Tomorrow morning, readings are into the low and mid-teens, southern Kentucky. What this model says is it's usually a warm model anyway. It's trying to keep the clouds across southern Kentucky. Clear skies to the north. That would be the favorite area to hit the single digits. 20s tomorrow. Clouds will quickly filter in tomorrow night and Friday morning ahead of our Clipper. That's a fast-moving system that is usually ahead of some Arctic air. That will have a little period of snow, then snow showers and flurries. And watch how cold we get on Saturday. Low teens to start. We don't recover very much at all into Saturday afternoon with temperatures that will be generally upper teens and low 20s for highs. Again, we go towards Sunday. That's your Valentine's Day. Most of Sunday right now appears to be snow-free. We'll target especially Sunday night and into Monday and Tuesday for a storm system that some of the computer models suggest could be a big one somewhere across the Ohio Valley and eastern part of the country. Will that include Kentucky? Stay tuned.
It's not going away soon as far as winter.
It isn't. We may catch a little break the end of next week with some milder air for a few days, then I think we're back into the pattern.
Well, that's something at least.
Light at the end
Just
of the tunnel.
something.
There you go.
Thank you, Chris.
Live look at Lexington rush hour traffic on the inner outer loops of the Circle and the interstate. You can see getting a live look at traffic flow. The biggest issues are on Nicholasville Road. Inbound Nicholasville at Canary, we had a crash there involving several vehicles. That should be cleared, but traffic's still paying for it approaching the Circle. And then over to Leestown and Trade, where they're cleaning up the non-injury crash. Just a couple of cars involved in that one, not impacting traffic flow as much. The drive times, outbound Versailles Road toward Woodford County looks decent. 75 across the Clays Ferry Bridge. Things are normal there. Now back to the studio.
The race for the White House continues as the candidates now head to South Carolina.
While Centrepointe could affect Mayor Jim Gray's bid for the U.S. Senate. Bill Bryant has more in today's Bottom Line.
Good evening. The battle for the White House has quickly shifted to South Carolina after the results from New Hampshire rolled in. The winners in New Hampshire were anti-establishment icons. Republican Donald Trump boasted about his victory and predicted the same in the states to come. But the second-place finisher was Ohio Governor John Kasich, who has spent a career in politics, including serving 18 years in Congress. It appears the sixth-place finish for New Jersey Governor Chris Christie was enough to drive him to the sidelines as he's been reassessing his campaign. On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders has been riding his win to success in raising money. His campaign is purchasing ads in states thought to be friendly to his message, including Massachusetts and Colorado. He defeated Hillary Clinton by about 20 points. She said today that people have a right to be angry, but they are also hungry for solutions. The flap over where to relocate Lexington City Hall and how to get the stalled-out Centrepointe project moving rioting downtown is not coming at a convenient time for Mayor Jim Gray. The mayor is trying to get his campaign for the Democratic U.S. Senate nomination off the ground, but last night's tension over the cost of the study and whether it should have been discussed in private rather than in public has left some observers wondering if it could give ammunition to Gray's opponents in the coming Senate race. Kentucky vehicle enforcement officers are part of the state police, but they're paid considerably less than troopers. So far, KVE officers have lost legal battles on the issue, but tomorrow a legislative committee in Frankfort will take testimony on a bill that would address KVE pay under state law. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
The federal government is looking to get involved in a whistleblower lawsuit against Eastern Kentucky disability lawyer Eric Kahn. Attorneys with the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Division filed a motion yesterday in federal court. The lawsuit says Kahn conspired with Judge David Daughtry to funnel thousands of cases to Daughtry, who awarded disability benefits to people with falsified medical records. Kahn has denied any wrongdoing and hasn't been charged with a crime.
The EKU-Moorhead rivalry is renewed tomorrow night, Rob.
And there is a lot on the line in the OVC race as we approach the postseason. They play tomorrow night in Moorhead, and probably the best the Cats have looked all season last night on the home floor. It was impressive at both ends. That's next in sports.
CBS Monday. Witness greatness at the Grammys with once-in-a-lifetime performances by Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, Pitbull, Kendrick Lamar, The Weeknd, Lady Gaga, Rihanna, plus Little Big Town, Carrie Underwood, Sam Hunt, LL Cool J. And say hello when world superstar Adele returns to the Grammy stage. Don't miss the Grammys live, CBS Monday, or stream it live.
It's the President's Day sale at Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Save big on legendary Lazy Boy comfort and quality. Find great deals on recliners, sofas, love seats, sectionals, and more. Plus special financing. Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Live life comfortably.
Where can you satisfy your craving for a delicious 100% Alaskan cod meal? Right here at Long John Silver's. Enjoy our tasty 2-piece hand-battered Alaskan cod basket, hand-dipped in our classic batter, now for just $5.99. Because at Long John Silver's, you deserve more.
Dear Jack, you know that I'm crazy for you, but I dare you to surprise me and melt my heart. Love, Sarah.
Write your love story with great ideas from Kroger. From your first love to the love that lasts forever, you'll find a way to melt their hearts. Give love with a little help from Kroger.
USDA Choice boneless shoulder roast is $3.49 a pound, and asparagus is $1.99 a pound at Kroger.
What is going on?
Today we're going to run a slalom course, not down the mountain, but up it.
That's terrifying.
In one of these.
Sweet.
The Chevy Silverado offers a combination of four-wheel drive and an exclusive auto-locking rear differential.
Let's do this.
So if a rear wheel starts to slip, the axle automatically locks to provide better traction.
Feels like a beast. Grip's great. Dude, that was awesome.
Now during Truck Month, get this Silverado All-Star with a total value of $7,500. See your Kentucky Select Chevy dealers.
Home security can be easier than you think. Whether you're a first-time customer or you're unhappy with your current service, Bates simplifies security and makes switching your service to Bates easy. You keep your existing equipment and we do the rest. Switch your system today and get 3 months free monitoring. Recently named Central Kentucky Small Business of the Year.
Bates Security, protecting what matters most.
Hey guys, this February, give her the gift she's really gonna love. Endless prime rib, baby! Premium weekends at Golden Corral are here. Live it up with prime rib, shrimp, salmon, and more. Just $13.99. Only at Golden Corral.
If you've asked any company to stop calling your cell phone and they don't, you may be entitled to $1,500 for every one of those calls, even if you owe them money. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
It's the President's Day sale at Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Save big on legendary Lazy Boy comfort and quality. Find great deals on recliners, sofas, love seats, sectionals, and more. Plus special financing. Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Live life comfortably.
Stay connected to the news that matters to you, like WKYT on Facebook.
It was only 1 week after a disappointing loss at Tennessee, but the Cats have now stormed back with 2 wins on the home floor. Last night, it was devastating at both ends of the court. Georgia came in playing some pretty good defense. It was nowhere to be found as Kentucky tore the Dogs apart.
You know, it was a good effort and one of our better efforts this year.
Inability to get a stop forced us to play against that defense all night. We just collapsed at the end of the half and never made a run after that.
The collapse started when Derek Willis stole the ball and slammed it. He credited assistant Tony Barbie.
I think we had like a timeout or something. He talked to me. It was like, you know, if you kind of just, you know, pay attention and kind of play the play, you know, they're just going to swing it. They're not even really looking. He said you'll get a run out, and really, next time they did it, that's just what happened.
Derek Willis.
From there, it was all downhill for the Dogs as Kentucky dominated. Just about everything went in. It was a tremendous offensive display. The Cats took care of the ball, and the defense was great.
They went there with the edge and brought it to them. We ran everything properly executed, and that was Coach Cal came up with a lot of winning plays for us to execute.
Our team defense stunk, and we got away from it. I mean, it stunk in the second half at Kansas. It was awful. So we got back to the basics of let us do our job and teach what we're supposed to teach, team defense, and these guys respond.
Cal really emphasizing the team defense last night. Cats travel to South Carolina Saturday. Tip is set for noon on ESPN. That will be a big, big game. EKU and Moorhead will play the second of 2 games this season in their rivalry. It is set for tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in Moorhead. At 5 and 6 in OVC play, the Colonels are 4 games back of league-leading Tennessee Tech. EKU is a game behind Moorhead.
We don't sugarcoat it with our guys. We understand what we have to do to get to where we want to get to, and that's going on a run in Nashville in a couple weeks. But we have a lot of work ahead of us against a lot of teams that are very much jumbled in our conference. So we know we just beat Belmont and Tennessee State, who on paper were 2 of the best teams in the conference. So every game's going to come down the last 2 minutes of the game. It's all about us taking the next step as a team.
Getting down close now, closer and closer to conference tournament play. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll hear from Danny Trevathan, who is now a Super Bowl champ. Stay with us.